Morning, everyone. I hope you are well. Today's learning is dedicated in honor and for Refuah Shalema for Avram ben Fega Sarah, as well as for, I hope they don't mind me mentioning it, the Corbs who were involved in an incident yesterday. I hope Michael's coming on, but we wish them both a Refuah Shalema and only good things. So, as you can see, it's a busy day, so I'm out and about, a wandering Jew, even though it's not Friday. So I want to share with you a brief idea. Good morning, Carol, Peter, David. Lovely to see you. Hope everyone is feeling well and enjoying this glorious summer that we are here. Good morning, Andy. We wish you well. We just said that today's learning is in honor of Abraham ben Fega Sora. Refuah Shalema. Good morning, Richard and Caroline, who are still joining us. So here's a little thing. So this week's Torah portion, brief idea, and that is that we find that it was after the destruction of Baal Peor, right? All those that had been destroyed of having worshipped idolatry. Then God says a pasuk, a verse that we are all familiar with, that those that are that those that cleave to life, they will live. They are alive today. Well, obviously, if they're not dead as a result of the idolatry, then they are alive, right? Sorry, I did mention Michael, but just wanted to wish you and your lovely wife well after your horrible attack, which occurred, I believe, in Mill Hill. Hope you don't mind me mentioning it in these circles, but we wish you, we're davening for you and your family, Refuah Shalema, and only good things, and just horrendous, and we wish you well. So the question is, why does it need to mention? Obviously, if those that came through COVID, right? Obviously, if they are still alive after COVID, they're alive. We don't need to be told that if they're not, that they're alive. So there's two explanations I want to share with you. The first is by Dayan Geli. The first is Rabbi Kamenetsky. Okay, Dayan Geli, in a different context, said as follows. Every Shabbat we say Eitz Chaim Hi, we sing it Eitz Chaim Hi, right? Don't worry, I'm not going to sing. So we say it's a tree of life for those that cling to it. Why do we refer to the Torah as a tree of life? Michael, Andy, why do we refer to it as that? Richard, good morning. The answer is because, says Dayan Geli, if you have a tree, right? If we go back to the winter, and then you have a leaf, right? That are leaves that are on the tree. In autumn, all of a sudden, right, those leaves start fluttering off the tree, and they feel as if they're liberated, they're free, they're no longer restrained, constricted to the tree. But eventually, we all know those leaves will fall to the floor, and eventually they will dry out, they will be wrinkled, and they will disintegrate, right? Because the tree is the source of life, and therefore, without their source of life, it's impossible for them to be able to survive, to live. And therefore, that is the idea that we were being told in this week's Torah portion. Perhaps we can suggest the same way that the Torah is being told as a tree of life. So in this week's Torah portion, we learn that after Baal Peor, after the destruction of the idolatry, it is a realization, right, of the appreciation that we have to have for our Judaism, right? It's not just that we are not doing something, it's that we are doing something. We are cleaving, we are connected to our Judaism. We're proud of our identity. The next thing is a story about Shimon and Binyamin, story that's told many moons ago about Shimon and Binyamin. They were two people that agreed to pay 100 zloty, right? 50 zloty each. And that was in order for them to be able to have a synagogue built, okay? This is not an appeal, guys, okay? Anyways, so they are having the work is being carried out. They put the money in, 100 zloty, and all of a sudden the foreman, as they are wont to do, we all know, anyone that's had any type of building works, you all know at a certain point in time what happens. They come cap in hand and they say, I'm really sorry, but the price has gone up. It's gone up by 50 zloty, 50%. Andy, you're listening. So they get Shimon, who's who's with the foreman, says, no problem. I committed to have it being built. You come to me, I'll pay the 50 zloty. And so he paid it. But afterwards, his friend, his partner, became very angry. He said, Binyamin said to him, he said, listen, the deal was that we would be 50-50 partners in the building of the synagogue. We paid initially 50% each, 50 zloty each. Now there's been an increase by 50%, and you've taken the lion's share. You've taken that 50%. That's not fair. I want to have an equal reward, an equal share in the building of the synagogue. You can't take that away from me. Shimon said, no, that's not right. The foreman came to me. He asked me for the money, and therefore I paid the money. So they went to the Chofetz Chaim, who happened to be visiting at that time. And the Chofetz Chaim at that time, the great sage of yesteryear, of yore, he was trying to avert the evil decrees that were being made by the Russian government. And to cut long story short, they told the Chofetz Chaim the two sides of their story. We agreed, it was 50-50. And then Shimon says, yeah, but the foreman came to me and he needed another 50 zloty, so I wanted to pay it. And the Chofetz Chaim says, when you have people that have such a thirst, a desire, an enthusiasm, and a passion for Judaism, there is no question that this is not coincidence that you come to me. Just now, the evil decree by the Russian government, one of those decrees that I came to town to try to avert, to try to annul, has been nullified, it's been postponed, it's been pushed off. There is no question when people are fighting over the will to contribute, to make their mark, to be able to help other people, to help a shul, to help community, that is when evil decrees are averted. And therefore, that's the idea that we are saying in the verse in the Torah. It wasn't just that the evil of Baal Peor, the idolatry, was averted, it was destroyed, but those that were left with felt they were truly living, not just existing. Living because they had an appreciation of what life was about, living with meaning of focal point, as we are all doing when we learn every day. And with that, we will conclude. I'm sorry I don't have my sheets to hand, but we will conclude with a refuah shlema prayer for all those that are unwell. Andy, we wish you well in particular. Michael, we wish you well and your lovely wife after the terrible incident, and everyone else who needs a refuah shlema in the community as well. Misha Berach Avosenu Rav Yitzchak Yaakov Moshe Aaron David Shlomo Yivayach Repes Achelim Avram ben Sarah Feigeler, Avram ben Feigeler Sarah, and Rivka Bas Leah, and Besoch Shach Chol Yisrael. So I don't have all the other names. Bavu Shanu Mispalim Babaram Mitzchazek Kodesh Baruch Hu Malei Rachim Aleihem Lach Malafosam Yishlach Refuah Shlema L'Shemaim L'Cholim Besoch Shach Chol Yisrael. Refuah Sanefesh Refuah Sakov Hashavak Zmakarif Nomar Amen. Life is about, friends, not just existing, but truly living. That's why it says Eitz Chaim Hi. It is a tree of life for those that cleave to it. Cleaving to life is making sure that we are able to live life to the full, make the max of the opportunities that are beholden, that we are behooved. That's what we have to make the most of. And please God, in that way, we will be able to live a meaningful life and a life of meaning. Have a great day. Please God, look forward to seeing you at my desk tomorrow. Take care.